Okay, Shalom. Right, brilliant lesson about the concept of the leper and doubt and how these two words can be ciphered into one another, okay, by using a specific cipher within the Hebrew language. Let's go and have a look. Okay, so leper and doubt. Let's just bring some gematria up. Let's go through this cipher that I've just talked about. So basically, you can take the letters of the word leper, okay, or the word doubt, and they're very closely connected because we've got this whole concept of the suffering servant, and we've also got written in the Talmud. I've done a previous lesson. It really goes through a very powerful concept to be found in the Talmud, and I will put that in the link. It goes through the concept about how the Moshiach is a leper, and all the gematria and which leper and where is that pointing to? What is that a code name for? So I'll go through that in a different lesson. In this lesson, I'm just going to go through some wonderful connections between the concept of doubt, because we have doubt in who the Moshiach is. We have doubt that Yeshua fulfilled the words of the Torah, okay, in the prophecy regarding the concept of Moshiach, because we don't understand that Yeshua came in the aspect of Moshiach called Moshiach Ben Yosef, and the final incarnation of the Moshiach will be Moshiach Ben David. Okay, however, there is a lot of doubt regarding him, but the connection to the leper and doubt can be seen in this particular cipher. So we take the letters Samech, Pe and Resh, and we go one on in the alphabet, and this is like a cipher that's used in every Torah scroll, and I've pointed that out. The phrase Yod He Waw He Eloheinu Yod He Waw He is ciphered the exact same way in each Torah, not the Torah scroll, the mezuzah scroll on all the doors and gates. Okay, so we take the Samech, we go the next one in the alphabet. We take the Pe and go the next one in the alphabet, so it would be Resh. Samech Ayin. So the first letter of doubt is Samech, it would be Ayin. The first letter of Pe would be Resh. The first letter of Pe would be Tzadeh. Let me get that right. Samech Ayin Pe Tzadeh. Yeah, it would be Tzadeh. And then Kof, it's Resh. Okay, so we've got these letters here. Ayin, which is the next one on from Samech. Resh, which is the next one on from Kof. And Tzadeh, which is the next one on from Pe. So this is a cipher, and we know this cipher is used because it's in every single mezuzah scroll, just as I've said before. So then we can do the numbers for all these, and we get quite a lot of numbers. We're going to be looking at the ones highlighted first. Okay, so let's go and have a look what this brings up straight away. We've got this incredible connection to this concept. It's just been Rosh Hashanah, so we've just had in the prayer siddur of Rosh Hashanah the concept to be found, and I have done teachings on this, so again I'll try and put them in the comments. However, if you go look at Yeshua Hapanim on the comment on my content, you will come across these videos. It's incredible how Yeshua Hapanim is actually written within the Machzor, the Siddur, the Machzor for Rosh Hashanah, the prayer book. The official prayer book has the phrase Yeshua Hapanim within it. Okay, so there's a connection, because if we take the square ordinal of leper and the square ordinal of doubt, it comes to 1795, which is exactly the Mispar Gadol, regular and ordinal, of Yeshua Hapanim. Okay, so no coincidences there. The term Yeshua Hapanim is really the top of the ladder. It's where we come face to face with the name of Yod He Waw He. Obviously, we cannot see Yod He Waw He face to face, but he has a representation of his name that we can see face to face. The representation of his name is Yeshua Hapanim. Okay, and it's when we've elevated up beyond all the levels of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and we get to the 50th gate of understanding, which is understanding why the righteous suffer. Who is the primary righteous person that has been suffering for the last 2,000 years in history because of all the doubt regarding him being the Moshiach? Yeshua. Okay, it's all connected, it's all glorious. Buried in Shechem. So where's the connection here? Right, I just didn't bring this last part of it up. So buried in Shechem. Who's buried in Shechem? Yosef is buried in Shechem when the children of Israel brought his bones out of Egypt, and went through the desert with him, and they crossed over the Yarden into Eretz Israel. He was finally buried in Shechem, and I've been privileged enough to go to his grave in Shechem. Okay, it's now called Nablus, by the way, but the biblical name for the place where Yosef is buried is Shechem. His grave in Shechem, I've put. So, if we take the regular and the Mispah Gadol, add them together, it comes to 1,900, exactly the same as the square ordinals of both and the ordinals of both leper and doubt. It's phenomenal perfection. Also, 199 is one of the fillings out of the ordinal fillings out of Yeshua and Moshe. I think I'm going to go put that up. Okay, so there you can see one of the ordinal fillings out of Moshe, Mem Shin He, and one of the fillings out of Yeshua, Yod Shin Vav Ayin. Add them together, they come to 199, which is exactly the same as buried in Shechem. Okay. Moshe and Yeshua are one. It's the Moshiach. He came first as Moshe. He was elevated up to the level of Moshiach Ben Yosef. The same soul of Moshiach, there's only one, will come again as Moshiach Ben David. Okay, it's all things that we've got to be aware of. Right, and it was a delight to the eyes. Exactly the same, regular and Mispah Gadol. This number's going to come up later, the 1,230. It's a very important number. It's the ordinal of Kates Shem Lechoshech. He sets an end to darkness. What darkness? Well, the suffering of the righteous for a start, and all the darkness with which we've got to toil in order to reveal the wisdom that's hidden in it. Okay, the wisdom of the Torah, the wisdom of the revelation of his name, that there is only Yod Yahweh and nothing else beside him. That wisdom and that revelation is hidden in darkness, and we have got to get it out. So, but he sets an end to darkness. What does that mean? We won't have to toil with the darkness anymore to experience the revelation of the oneness of Yod Yahweh. He's got a time frame involved until we're completely perfected, and then we can receive that he desires to bestow upon us. So there's a big connection between buried in Shechem and it was a delight to the eyes. What was a delight to the eyes? The tree of the knowledge of good and evil to Eve, Chava. Okay? And we are now in the process of rectifying that, the eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So we can see there's a triple connection between these two, obviously, but that connects us up to the concept of the leper and doubt, you know. Just to point out as well, this bit here, Tahawahu, it was a delight, comes to 424, which is exactly the same as Moshiach Ben David. So I've done a teaching before this. I'll probably put the link in the comments about what did she really see. What was the reason she really ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and was from her perspective even a sin, because she was able to perceive something very great in that, and like I say, the Tahawahu has got the exact same gematria as Moshiach Ben David, and like I say, I did a wonderful teaching about it, how we've got to transform our, serpent perspective down here in physical reality. We've got to try and consider what was going on in the upper worlds. It's really a really fascinating teaching. Some wonderful gematria regarding it, all connected to this concept. So the fact that the Moshiach Ben Yosef comes and suffers and appears like a leper in the world is somehow connected to the rectification of eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This number comes up again. We will see it later. Right, this is a fascinating concept. This is Anochi filled out. Okay, so it is, where is it? It is the same. If we do the filling out, the regular and the ordinal, and add the 22 letters for it, the filling out for Anochi comes to 920. 920 is exactly the same as a square ordinal of leper. Now we're going to go and have a look at some really wonderful teaching from Chabad.org about this concept of Anochi Anochi and the fact that Anochi is an Egyptian word. I will also point out that 92 is the ordinal of Moshiach Ben David, Messiah, son of David, when it contains the extra yud to symbolise that Moshiach Ben David has been perfected. Let's go and have a look at this concept because it's absolutely wonderful. So if you wanted to go and have a look at the whole of the article, it's to be found on Chabad.org, the Egyptian word Anochi. So we've got this. In commenting on the words, I am Anochi, the Lord your God, the opening words of the Ten Commandments, Midrash states the word Anochi is of Egyptian origin. We've been doing a lot about Egyptian. We have to sometimes look to Egypt in order to go forwards, look backwards in order to go forward. I did that in the last lesson about Hezekiah's seal, a really, really interesting lesson, by the way. Being the first word of the first commandment itself, Anochi encompasses the entire Torah. Moreover, Anochi, I am, refers to God's very essence, something that cannot be alluded to by name or by any name or intimation. So this is the word that we've got to pick up on, this word essence. We're talking about Yosef's bones, and we're talking about buried in Shechem. Bones is very much connected to the word essence. Okay. Anyway, let's read on from here. So it's the very essence of God, something that cannot be alluded to by any name or intimation. How is it then possible for the word Anochi to be of an Egyptian origin? How can it possibly be that the degrees of manifest godliness that can be alluded to by the names Yod He Waheh Havaya, that's the Kabbalistic way of saying Yod He Waheh, and God Elohecha, which are of the holy tongue, while Anochi, the word that denotes God's essence, is of Egyptian origin? This is phenomenal to me, because everything that we experience is God's manifestation of his will. Okay, and his will is to perfect us in order to be able to bestow upon us that he desires to bestow. Okay, so that's everything that we experience is a manifestation of godliness. You know, the good and the bad, the darkness and the light, everything is a manifestation in one way or another of his will. Okay, and so we've got various names that we can associate with that manifestation. You know, and you've got the 10 Sfiroth on the tree of life, and each one represents a different name. The way God manifests and makes himself known to us within creation, i.e. through judgment, through mercy and kindness and love, they're all associated with different names. Okay, and then the super levels of spiritual consciousness and things, that's even higher names. Okay, and things like El Shaddai. Right, so why is God's essence this, that he's desiring to reveal to us an aspect of his infinite essence? The whole of this creation is for that one will. So that is the ultimate will that he desires to fulfill. And he manifests that will until that is completed. Okay, so why does the word Anochi, why is that's Egyptian connected to the very essence of God? And this is the aspect of his essence, by the way. We cannot know the essence, the infinite essence of God in any way, shape or form. It is completely and totally unknowable to us, but he wills to reveal an aspect of it to us. So you can see the essence, the infinite essence, he desires to reveal an aspect to us of that. And the aspect he desires to reveal of his infinite, perfect essence is the concept of his oneness. So all the names of Yod He Waheh and the way that he is orchestrating the entire of creation in order to fulfill that will, to reveal a part of his infinite perfection to man, called his oneness, why is that represented by an Egyptian name, and then all the other ways he manifests that will represented by a Hebrew word? It's very interesting. Let's read on. So I hope you can understand, because I talk about this concept a lot. I've just recently done a lot on the concept of the unity of being, and a lot to do with the oneness. Why do I do a lot to do with oneness? Because it's the absolute, it's the will of Yod He Wawe to reveal his oneness. Everything we are experiencing in this world is a manifestation of his will to reveal to us that aspect of his infinite essence. That is represented by the name Anochi, I am. So let's go back to this. We've got up to here, haven't we? The question becomes even greater when one bears in mind that the 70 languages of mankind are divided into various categories by quality and rank, with Egyptian being the lowest order since Egypt was the abomination of the earth. How then can it be that when the Torah required a word to express God's essence, the Torah used an Egyptian word? Obviously, these have come up with a Torah-based perspective, but it isn't clear. What they haven't highlighted specifically is what I've just told you. That is a really big question. What I've just told you, they're going to now answer from within a Jewish perspective, which is all connected. It's all connected. I'm not saying anything like that. God designed that beginning with the first word he uttered at Matan Torah, there immediately, that's the giving of the Torah, by the way, Matan Torah, giving. There immediately be known the purpose of his giving the Torah. He accomplished this by using the word Anochi. Okay, so the purpose of the Torah is to fulfill the will, to perfect ourselves, to be able to receive that revelation that he desires to bestow upon us, to receive a revelation of his infinite, perfect essence, i.e., a revelation of his oneness, that there's only Yod He Wawe and nothing else beside him. Okay. He accomplished this by using the word Anochi. So that's why we've got to focus on what the ultimate goal is. The whole ultimate goal of the entire Torah is to bring us to that place. The revelation of Anochi, of God's essence, was actually for the sake of the Egyptian tongue. Okay, that is to say, the ultimate intent of Matan Torah was to draw down holiness not only to the holy tongue, but into the other language as well, even into Egyptian. Now look at how through Yeshua and through the church, how the whole word of God has been translated into all the languages of the world, and people have invested their entire life in order to accomplish this. Okay, so bear that in mind as well. Anochi, Anochi, I, even I, an Egyptian word. As long as one does not descend to Egypt and merely occupies himself with Torah and prayer, i.e. the holy tongue, for his own purpose, then no matter how lofty his service may be, one can only attain that limited level of divine revelation that is symbolized by God's names. Okay, so you are only connected to a manifestation of his will. You are not connected to his essence, his oneness. By serving God only in a rational manner, we are only capable of connecting and receiving from Elohecha, the divine name Elohim, which refers to godliness, that is contracted within intellect and nature. By serving God in a super-rational manner, we are capable of connecting and receiving from Havaya, that's Yod He Wawe, God's ineffable name, where past, present and future are one. God's essence, however, cannot be obtained through this form of service, for even the loftiest levels are not suitable vessels for God's essence. This is about us being perfected to reveal God's essence, God's oneness. Okay, and if we're just doing it for the sake of ourselves and our reward in the world to come, and whatever small-minded imagination that we've got when we think we're fulfilling the Torah of Yod He Wawe, but we're falling far short, this is not a suitable vessel. Okay, we are trying. Yod He Wawe's will is to prepare vessels to receive a revelation of his oneness, not to prepare to receive our personal reward. Okay, he's got a bigger vision for our life than we are ourselves, and the word Anochi is a reminder of his big vision to us. Is not just to fulfill our own, to serve ourselves. Basically, it's not just to serve ourselves. It's for the sake of his name to be revealed, or his will to be revealed. And his will is to reveal that oneness. It is specifically through our service in the lowest levels, working and refining the physical world down to and including the Egyptian language, that we are capable of receiving from and connecting to Anochi. For, as the verse states regarding the holy temple, behold the heavens, and the heavens of the heavens cannot contain you, and yet this physical house can. Okay, so it's incredible. We literally can create a vessel that is capable of containing the the actual essence of God. And that is what we should be working on. We should be working on that now. And how do we do it? Well, we've got to even consider the working and refining the physical world down to the lowest levels possible. And what does Yeshua do? You know, that's exactly what has been accomplished through Yeshua, who is the leper. And these two words we've seen, they're connected to Anochi Anochi. It's all such perfection. In my eyes, it's just so glorious. It really, really is. The lesson is clear. We cannot do by only involving ourselves in personal matters of holiness. We must occupy ourselves in sanctifying the world as well, transforming the world into a receptacle for godliness. Merely occupying ourselves with Torah study, prayer, and the performance of mitzvot, that's commandments, does not suffice. We must know God in all our ways, i.e. that also those permissible worldly matters, those things on the level of Egypt, with which we occupy ourselves, should similarly be connected to God. Okay. We should be able to go into the lowest places in this world and reveal an aspect of his perfect essence. We should be able to go into the depths of this life's experience and from that place declare there is only Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh and nothing else beside him. That's a revelation of his oneness, okay? He is the only power, he is the only authority, and even though the darkness of the place in which we have entered may overwhelm us with that reality of that darkness, there's only one truth to be found in that place, and that is there's only Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh, nothing else beside him. And we should boldly be able to go anywhere in this world and experience any experience that we experience and talk to anybody that we can talk to and be able to pass on that message that came to us via the Moshiach Ben Yosef, who is the leper. You know, he's the leper king, and he went into all the lowest places. He's the one that is with us in these lowest places. There's all kinds of wonderful meditations that we can think about, but it's incredible how it's all connected to this concept. It really is wonderful. It really is a wonderful thing. And like I say, the 920 is 10 times the ordinal of Moshiach Ben David, when Moshiach Ben David is rectified. Behold, I have given 1,000 pieces of silver. Okay, hine notati. This is from a particular verse. It's a very mystical verse. There's a lot in it. This is of Egyptian origin. This is when Abraham went with Sarah, and Sarah got kidnapped, and then all the boils and things came upon the household of Amalek. And he then let Sarah go, and he paid Abraham 1,000 pieces of silver. And it's all connected to the concept of Moshiach. Specifically, in this case, Moshiach Ben David, which is 92. The ordinal of Moshiach Ben David rectified is 92. But we can see here, we've got the 920 that connects us up to the leper. So we've got 10 times the ordinal. And it also connects us to here, so we know that this is a phenomenal thing, and that happened within the household of Pharaoh to Abraham and Sarah, and somehow it's connected to a revelation of Moshiach Ben David. You know, it's the final incarnation of the soul of Moshiach, that we're really truly longing for and waiting. But as we can see, it's also connected back to the concept of Yeshua. The two are one. And Moshe as well, the two are one. He was the one who received the 10 Commandments. You can meditate and read so much into it. But this phenomena where the ordinal is a multiple of the regular, I've got a whole sheet of things. It comes up so many times. It's all powerful messianic revelations. I'll just show you just so that you've got a clue. So when you see that especially 10 times, especially when the ordinal is exactly 10 times, the ordinal, the regular is exactly 10 times the ordinal, it's a highly messianic revelation. Okay, let me just go show you why. Okay, so I've been collecting for a long time this kind of information because it stands out to me. All these here are where the multiples, the regular is 10 times the ordinal. So we've got the 2 years, okay, and that can be synonymous with the 2 years, extra years that Yeshua, Yosef was in the prison for uttering words, remember me to Pharaoh and take me out, who was ascended into heaven and descended, done lots of teachings of that. So we've got the regular is 5 times 153, the ordinal is 153, shofar 10 times, the ordinal, to guard the way to the tree of life, that is a multiple, 204, 1428 is 7 times 204, and 204 is Yosef. Okay, the mouth of the earth, we've got the same thing, Tophel, it's a very mysterious place, it's actually not, it's a code name. They did not know that Yosef understood. Viper, spider, that's Sarach Bat Asher, and he went up from there to Bathsheba, throne of David. When we multiply it out, I believe, what's that? Anyway, it's there. That you are a valiant woman, so we can see that's 10 times. Leprosy, so we're looking at leper now, leprosy itself is the same. Anochi, one of the Erev Rav. Balak, the son of Zippor, the one who cursed, and then the curses became the blessing. You know, it's like Yeshua's been cursed, but this curse will become a blessing. For you longed for your father's house, that is all related. Again, it's actually related to the verse about the 1,000 shekels. I'm going to be doing a lesson on that. Very mysterious, as we can see. This is very powerful. These are very powerful numbers, the multiples of each other. Kedar shall be inhabited with villages. Kedar is connected to the whole revelation of Moshiach Ben David. Patek, that is like Rabbi Nachman's note, where you get that phrase, Na Nach Nachman Nachman Ma'uman. Advocate of Yisrael, the Mespar Gadol. And so says the Lord, who gathers in the dispersed of Israel, yet I will gather others to him. So that's 21 times 71, and the ordinal is 6 times 71. So the multiples of each, the multiples of each other. Okay, it's all incredible. And then I think there's some more. Right, so I don't know how much of that I jumbled up, because I noticed that I weren't recording quite right. But behold, I have given 1,000 pieces of silver. So that goes through, that fulfills that what I was saying about multiples, where the regular is 10 times the ordinal, or a multiple of each other. It will be redeemed with justice. So 920 again, the square ordinal of leper. 110 is the ordinal of Yeshua HaMashiach. Okay. And Timna was a concubine to Eliphaz, son of Asaph, and she bore to Eliphaz Amalek. So as we can see here, the Mispar Gadol is, and the Mispar Gadol regular and ordinal is 4,375, which is 5 times 875, 5 times the square ordinal of doubt. And we know that doubt is synonymous with Amalek. Why? Because Sophek, doubt, it comes to 240, and Amalek, this Amalek also comes to 240. They've got the same ordinal, and the sages say that Amalek represents doubt. He is the force that kills the light of Moshiach Ben Yosef. He tries to destroy the truth regarding Yeshua being Moshiach Ben Yosef. Okay, it's all the doubt. It comes from the Erev Rav primarily, but it's not just the Erev Rav. There's a very powerful force of doubt. We've got to overcome it. We've got to transform that doubt into revelation. Okay, and then you've got this. One of the names of Messiah is the cloud. Okay, and that comes to the Mispar Gadol, 820. So 820 is 10 times the regular of Moshiach Ben Dawid. The ordinal of Moshiach Ben Dawid, when Dawid is spelled Daleth Vav Daleth rather than Daleth Vav Yod Daleth, which is the corrected version of David. So 875, we've got again connected to the concept of doubt. Okay. And then we've got this verse here, and then we've got this, here. The Holy One, blessed be He, found no vessel that could contain blessing for Israel save that of peace. So this is the ultimate state that we've got to attain in order to fill up with that oneness that that is the will of Yod-Heh-Wah to reveal to us and to bestow upon us. So this vessel of peace, when we take the regular ordinal and the Mispar Gadol ordinal and add them together, it comes to 875. So again, doubt. It's the forces of Esav, the forces of doubt that we've got to transform from the darkness that it is into a vessel of Shalom. And, all the reasons for that doubt, we've got to analyse them and search them out completely until we can conclude in perfect faith that there's only Yod-Heh-Wah and nothing else beside Him. Okay, it's a big, 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 big battle. Doubt is the biggest battle of all, but we have got to confront doubt. We've got to say, I have doubt in this issue. What can I do about it? How can this doubt be resolved? And then we've got, I can't see what that number is now. Let me just do a calculation. I don't know where I get the 3,293, which is the Mispar Gadol, is Yeshu, which is the concept of Moshiach Ben Yosef when he's cursed with the name Yeshu, when his name erased, multiplied by the evil inclination. So the evil inclination is what we've got to dominate over. That's our inner Esav. We've got to subdue it. Okay, so Moshiach Ben Yosef in exile, suffering to help subdue Esav, the evil inclination, to the good. This is where we get our vessels of Shalom from. We don't get given the vessels of Shalom. What we get is vessels of chaos that we've got to smash to smithereens. I talked about this when I did about the Trinity and the breaking of the vessels. We've got to take the error that creates the doubt and reorganize it into vessels of tikkun, rectification. So we've got to go from a place of chaos and doubt into a place of clarity and shalom. Chaos, doubt and lies into clarity, like a clear Torah, like truth and shalom. They're all synonymous. They're all states that we've got to get to where our soul, our inner Yaakov, dominates over our outer nations, our evil inclination, our Esav and Amalek. Those forces give birth to Amalek. And Yeshua, suffering in exile with us, is the power to suppress and overcome and dominate over all these forces and transform them from the low levels of reality that they are into a revelation of the oneness of Yod-Heh-Wah, connected back up to this concept, Anochi Anochi. I just wanted to show you also the verse where you find these two words together, Anochi Anochi. Okay, so here are the three verses. I am the Lord, and besides me there is no Saviour. And I've done a lot of analysis in that to show how Yod-Heh-Wah is our Saviour, and He manifests that salvation through Moshiach primarily. And the gematria of that points to that. I erase your transgressions for my sake, and your sins I will not remember. So these are wonderful, wonderful prophecies. I am He who consoles you, who are you that you fear man? Who will die, and the Son of Man? Who shall be made as grass? Okay, so that's telling us we've to fear nothing, you know. Right, let's go on and have a look at the rest. So leper and doubt, let's have a look. Going through to have a look at this number now, 705. The rod of Elohim, I've talked about that a lot. This is the rod of Elohim. Actually, the rod of Elohim was used by Moshe to subdue Amalek. You know, he was at the top of the mountain, and Yeshua was in the battle, but in the valley battling with Amalek. However, the rod of Elohim is like an intermediary stage, isn't it? It's linked to the concept of Metatron, who can both act as a rod of Elohim, but he can turn into a serpent as well, like the rod of Moshe turned into a serpent. And there's all kind of mysterious teachings in that. Okay, and I talk about we've got to get from Metatronic levels of consciousness up to Messianic levels of consciousness, but it's connected. So we are kind of in an intermediary state, aren't we, where we haven't had that full revelation of oneness revealed to us. Why? Because we haven't got the vessel to contain it yet. We've got to work to get the vessels of Shalom. We've got to work to battle over the forces of doubt. We've got to work to get the wisdom that's hidden in the darkness out. And we've got to work to be able to conclude that and have answers for the suffering of the righteous. And we've also got to get up to that 50th level where we are looking at Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh face to face, and that is represented by Yeshua Hapanim. The rising of the dawn. So this was Lot. This is part of the story of Lot. He was told to get up, Shachar Allah. So it's to do with the rising of the dawn. And from Lot's daughters came forth the Moshiach. Okay, so even again, you've got something that's really horrific, isn't it? The fact that Lot was in Sodom, there's all kinds of impurity associated with that, and all kinds of really unholy concepts like not being nice to strangers, but yet from that, when they were taken out, and then the whole birthing of Lot's daughters, well, Lot got drunk, he gave birth to his own grandchildren. The daughters give birth to their own father's children, but from that Moshiach came, and this is again the light that comes out with the darkness. And I've talked about this concept before. It even says where I'm not going to go through that now, but anyway, this is connected to it's highly connected to Moshiach Ben Dawid. Okay, so the rising of the dawn, and even this verb here, Allah, is connected to the concept of Moshiach Ben Dawid. I've talked about that a lot. As we can see, it goes back even to this, Doubt, Leper, Rod of Elohim, and Lot. Okay, there's a lot of mystical connections with that. I haven't got time to go through it today. I might try and put a link to a previous teaching where I've talked about the daughters of Lot and Moshiach, if I can. What was, is, that will be, what goes around comes around, basically. This is taken from Ecclesiastes, not Ezekiel. I think I've just put that wrong, I think. What the sages say is the fact that it's Moshe that will be reincarnated, because this is talking about the final redemption. So Moshe was obviously the Mashiach of the first redemption, the first Exodus. And the initial letters of what was, is, that will be, Ma Shehiyeh, who is Moshe, look, Mem Shin He. So they say it was the first redeemer, will be the last redeemer. What goes around comes around. Okay, that I'm pretty sure should be Ecclesiastes 1:9. Very interesting concept, that. The total initial letters. So the total initial letters, even including this bit, so there's Moshe, and then there's the final word comes to 705. The regular and the ordinal come to 705. So 705 as well is 5 times 141, and 141 is the regular and the ordinal of Emunah, faith. 39, by the way, is also the ordinal of Yeshua. the ordinal of Moshe, and 102 times 2 is the regular and ordinal of Yosef. So in Emunah, you've got a connection to both Yosef and Moshe. Got to have faith in the coming of the Moshiach. The Moshiach comes, the final revelation of Moshiach comes when we unite Moshe and Yeshua together, and man became a living soul. Again, you've got this. This is one of the things that we looked at, where the regular is a multiple of the ordinal. So 564 is 4 times 141. So 705, there we go. It's all about Emunah. We've got to reach place of Emunah. We've got to transform our doubt into Emunah. Emunah reveals the name Yod-Heh-Waw. It reveals the concept of the coming of the Mashiach and the resurrection of the dead. We're in the process of perfecting our faith. Okay? It's all connected. So again, back to this concept of this, and to Sarah he said, Avimelech said, after he'd captured her, behold, I have given 1,000 pieces of silver to your brother. Behold, it is a covering of the eyes for all who are with you, and with all you shall contend. It's very, very mystical. I'm going to do a teaching on it. I found some incredible gematria recently that connects this to Yaakov. What Lavan said to Yaakov. It's all very mystical, but it's 705, so it's connected up to here. The covering of the eyes, 1,000 pieces of silver, Elef Kesef. We know Elef is synonymous with the revelation of Mashiach, because 1,000, it's the concept of both Moshiach Ben Yosef, which is classed as 999 steps that we do below, and the 1,000th step is a revelation by grace from above of Yod-Heh-Waw, and that 1,000th step is Moshiach Ben Dawid. But it's also, if you take Moshiach Ben Yosef, 566, add it on to Moshiach Ben Dawid, 434, it comes to 1,000. So they're connected. This whole concept of Elef Kesef. And we know this is an important verse because it's 6 times 913, and 913 is Bereshith, in the beginning, the very first word of Torah. All kinds of wonderful stuff there, and that's just here. Look, and man became a living soul, and the Lord God found man of the dust of the ground, and he breathed into his nostrils the soul of life, and man became a living soul. And we want that, don't we? We're not fully birthed yet. We haven't had that. We haven't been able to receive that breath of life fully. I mean, we are alive in one way, but I mean, we don't yet. We're not yet we're not yet able to reflect all the names of Yod-Heh-Waw and all his attributes, and contain a revelation of his infinite, perfect essence, which is his oneness. We're in a process of becoming that. Okay, let's go and have a look at some other numbers. So 975. I just hope you can get an appreciation of how significant this is. That's just, it's all these numbers are just to point you to one thing. It's just to connect all the dots up. And the fact is that it's talking about things that are really difficult to understand. The concept of the leper king and all the doubt that surrounds that. All this should really help you to understand that Yod-Heh-Waw has got a plan for absolutely everything. It can take your doubt, and from that it can create the most wonderful, glorious, awesome revelation that brings you to a place of faith, that takes you from a place of lies and darkness into truth and light. So, and behold, it had plucked an olive leaf in its mouth. So 975 is 2 times 487. So this is connecting us up to the square ordinal of leper and the ordinal of leper, which comes to the truth. We're talking about the truth. We don't want doubt and lies. We don't want Amalek and Esav that represent evil inclination, represents fantasy, fiction and lies. We want the truth, which is represented by Yaakov. Give truth to Yaakov. Ha'emeth, the truth. Yeshua represents the attribute of truth that builds the temple. Okay, he is the truth. Shemir worm. So the Shemir worm is a coded message, really. It's coded message to tell you what builds the holy temple. That is our body. That is the vessel that receives the revelation of the oneness. That's in the microcosmic level. At the macrocosmic level, the third temple will be built. and it will be a house of prayer for all nations, and King David will be enthroned. Okay, the Shemiah worm is a coded message, because you're not allowed to use iron implements to build the temple in any way. So they used this little Shemiah worm that cracked the stones, was able to crack the stones. It's really synonymous with the truth is what builds the temple, because it's the truth that brings the Shalom. Your evil inclination is represented by a lie. It's represented by Esav. So when Esav is dominating, i.e. the 70 nations are dominating over your soul, in essence you're saying your imagination and fantasy fiction and doubts and lies are dominating over the truth of your soul. And what do you have to do to empower your soul, your inner Yaakov? Give truth to Yaakov. What truth? Od Yosef Chai. Who is Yosef? Moshiach Ben Yosef. Okay, so this is the truth that brings empowers our good inclination to subdue our evil inclination. What subdues? A lie of the truth. Okay, and that brings it from a state of lie and chaos where it is in charge to a state of Shalom. Okay, where our soul is in control. And the holy temple is built, and then we can receive that wonderful revelation from our Father above. So all kinds of connections to truth, and all connections to this final redemption. This is the dove that had the olive leaf in her mouth, and she's finally letting Noah know the waters have abated. So it's connected to all this, but it's also the ordinal of this is 147. So the regular is 3 times 487, 3 times truth. Regular and ordinal, not truth, the truth. The ordinal is 147, which is the name, which is the years of Yaakov's life. But 3 times 147 is 441. Truth, emeth. So this is ha-emeth, the truth, which was Yeshua. He says, I am the truth. I am the power that your soul needs to overcome Amalek, to overcome Esav, to subdue the nations, to create a vessel of Shalom, so that the whole Messianic era can be ushered in. You can all experience final redemption, and you can fill up with the revelation that there's only Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh and nothing else beside him. Okay? Yosef is still alive. So that was connected, double connected. We got the 92 connected up to the square ordinal. That's 10 times that. Okay, which, like I've said, it's a number that comes up all the time. It's the ordinal of Moshiach Ben David. The Mispah Gadol is 974, which is exactly the same as the leper. Yosef is still alive. Okay, this suffering servant who went into exile with us and who's endured all this excruciating lies and all the darkness that's even been done in his name by the evil of men. He is still alive. Od Yosef Chai. This is the truth that will build the third temple. Okay, that's the only truth. Until the Jewish people accept this truth, Od Yosef Chai, and all its implications, who is Yosef? And the whole concept of the suffering servant, and the whole necessity of this process to overcome all the evil of doubt and darkness and chaos, to bring us that place of Shalom. Okay? 101, very important as well. It's Michael, the advocate. We have got to advocate. And even when Moshe and Sarah raised up the bones of Yosef, there was 2 ways in which this was accomplished in Midrash. I've talked about it a lot. One was using the Kabbalistic amulet that resulted in then the Erev Rav using the amulet to build the golden calf. And the other one was Moshe said to Yosef, petition, God with all the good deeds that you have done. So he was saying, be an advocate even for yourself. We have as believers in Yeshua, we've done a lot of evil. We have done a lot wrong. We have been dressed in the filthy rags of exile. We have even forgotten, the purpose of our being in this exile. But we have done a lot of good. And we have got to petition for that good that we've done. And this will raise up the bones of Yosef. And with the bones of Yosef, we can get out of exile. Because one day those bones are going to come alive again, for real. It will be a resurrection of the dead. Okay, so we've got to, all these things are wonderful lessons for us. So we've got to advocate for humanity. We've got to advocate for what Yeshua has accomplished, what the Moshiach Ben Yosef has accomplished in this world, for good. You know, how all the roads of communication were built. You know, all colonization, not ideal, but there was coming together of whole humanity. When King David now appears, all the communication networks, all the transport networks, everything's logistically possible, all communication is possible. This has been done by people going out into the world, you know, finding resources for lithium here, and it's not been an ideal situation. There's been a lot of wrong, but then we've paved the way, we've tilled the soil and prepared the way for a revelation of Moshiach Ben Yosef, Moshiach Ben David, the final revelation. And We've created a situation in this world now where we can all receive that revelation together. And we've got to start to petition for that. We are ready. We are ready. Everything's in place. Communication networks, satellite networks, everything is in place. All we need to do is petition against those forces of evil that are holding that revelation trapped and bound, just as the Egyptians cast all the spells that they possibly could to try and keep the bones of Yosef from leaving. You know, and like I said, the bones are the essence. We've got to petition now for all the good that has been accomplished through these last 2,000 years in order to bring us to that place, through this exile, to bring us to that place of final redemption. All the good, all the preparations, all the kindness, it's not all being bad. We've paid a price for the evil. Now we've got to get ourselves out of this exile, and we'll do that through advocacy. Peaceful and faithful, 487. So this is Sarach Bat Asher according to the sages. It's got an ordinal of 100 together there, 587. I've put Sarach Bat Asher Malkuth, the mouth that speaks truthfully and faithfully. Okay, so I'm not going to go into that. I've done teachings on Sarach Bat Asher where I go through this concept of the sages saying she is the one who is peaceful and faithful, because the word peaceful can mean complete. So she was the one who completed the 70 in Numbers when they went down into Egypt. She was the 70th of the household of Yaakov. So in that word, she was the completion of the house of Yaakov. And she was faithful, so she's called peaceful and faithful for that reason, according to the sages. And she's the wise woman. Sarach Bat Asher lived a long time. She went into the exile, but she's also part of the census going into Eretz Israel. So she actually went in as one of the 70, but went in with the children of Israel. So this mystery is explained that she was the one who told Yaakov, Od Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive. And she was the one that revived his spirit. This is all midrashic. It's all coded messages, basically. She was the one who brought Yaakov, she aroused him. From the place of grief, she aroused his spirit. She infused him with the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. And because of that, he blessed it, says, may you live forever. And she did. There is literally, stories and midrash that suggest that she was one of the people that went into heaven alive. There's also a burial site for her in Iran, a very, very famous Jewish place in Iran, or what we call Persia, I think. What you call Persia, but it's basically modern day Iran. She's supposedly buried there. There is a tomb for her there, I think, along with Mordecai and Esther. I'm not 100% sure about that, but around that area. But this is the wise woman spoken about in 1 Samuel. You'll have to go and have a look at it if you want to see it in context. But this wise woman that was spoken about in King David's time, I do believe, was also considered to be Sarach Bat Asher. So we can see she lived a very long time, according to the sages. And there's evidence of that, even the fact that she's got a tomb, in Persia. Okay, so very significant woman. And Yosef had handsome features and a beautiful complexion. So we've got that 1,230 again that we had on the first slide, and I said, oh, we come back to that number. So that's connected to all that we've already looked at. If we add that with a regular, it comes to 1,461, which is 3 times 487. Okay, so connected to the truth. And Yosef had handsome features and a beautiful connection. What's that telling us? Well, it's connected up here, isn't it, to the Shemir worm, that is able to build the Holy Temple. And the truth. Okay, Ha'emeth, the truth, Yeshua. His beauty is that he's the he's the truth that is given to Yaakov, or Joseph Chai. And also this square ordinal is the tree of Yosef. So the tree of Yosef is basically a revelation of the truth. Yeshua is the truth. What does that mean? Moshiach Ben Yosef is there helping us, suffering with us in a very hidden way. He's part of that upper light, that perfection, that Yechida. He's a revelation of the higher levels. He's a revelation of the level, the 13 attributes of mercy as revealed in the book of Micah. Higher levels of mercy than what was revealed to Moshe in the book of Exodus. I've talked about that a lot as well. The 13 attributes of mercy in Micah 7. You can go read it. And one of those is he gave truth to Yaakov. He gave kindness to Avram, gave truth to Yaakov. It's all wonderful stuff. I talk about it a lot. Yeshua and Michael come to 487. So we've got, we just talked about Michael, haven't we? That number's just come up here, Od Yosef Chai. That's the advocacy, the power of advocacy. So when Yeshua is connected to Michael, it comes to 487, Ha'emeth. And it's also the ordinal of those two, 53 and 47 for Michael. It's just exactly the same as this, isn't it? Peaceful and faithful. It's Serach Bat Asher. Okay. In his father's house. So he's talking about Moshe. He was kept in nourished up in his father's house for 3 months. That's Acts 7:20. 438 plus 49. That's the ordinal of Serach. Comes to 487. Emeth, truth. Okay. So connected to all this. And with that, I will say Shalom. Share and subscribe. Thank you.